Hello, and welcome to Not Now in Theaters. I'm your host, Will Turntail. This is our first episode, and I'm excited to bring you my thoughts on checking out the 80s cult classic Night of the Comet for a first watch. A film you'll find lovingly referenced in cult film lovers forums and across YouTube channels. It's interesting that it has taken me this long to get around to checking it out. A quick disclaimer before we begin. This review's factual information was gathered through online sources, like Wikipedia, IMDb, or interviews. Misrepresentations and errors are possible, but unintentional. Making art is hard. This is a fan's blog. Any criticisms are meant to be constructive. Any reference photos linked in the transcript are copyrighted by the Internet Movie Database. Alright, with that out of the way, let's go on to the show. Night of the Comet 1984 review. Machine Gun Valley Girls take on the PG-13 zombie apocalypse. In Night of the Comet, everyone sisters Reggie and Sam know is turned to dust overnight, and they face a fight for survival against the zombie-like cannibals now stalking the streets. But their real problem? Finding dates. A science fiction, comedy, and horror film that ticks all three genre boxes, Night of the Comet was a hit on release and has endured as a cult favorite. The movie is the vision of writer-director Thom Eberhardt, who directed what was one of my favorite movies growing up, the unheralded Captain Ron. For this film, Eberhardt wanted to merge strong female leads with post-apocalyptic movies. And when he asked young girls how they would react to a world-changing catastrophe, they saw it as an adventure, only discouraged by the lack of dating options. Carrying this buoyant spirit into the script, Eberhardt's film breezes on with a lighthearted, fun-at-the-end-of-the-world mood. But vibes can only take you so far in the sweepstakes of movies that get remembered. While the film was a creative effort for Eberhardt, you can argue that it was a cash-in by the studio. That would be Atlantic Releasing Corporation. And that's not always a mark of quality. The studio invested in a low budget, around $700,000. They wanted to capitalize on the recent success of last year's film, Valley Girl, a movie that is a time capsule of 80s teen culture, and oddball sci-fi romps like Alex Cox's Repo Man. So cash in, or writer-director's passion project, is Night of the Comet a good movie? The plot of Night of the Comet. The Earth is about to pass through the tail of a comet. This hasn't happened for 65 million years, and people all over Los Angeles are amped up to 11 about it. Though if anybody stopped to think about the fact that the last time this happened, the dinosaurs went extinct, maybe they wouldn't be so geared up. And since this is a comedy horror movie, predictably, this doesn't go well. By morning, the sky is red and hazy, and everyone has been turned to what a scientist in the film says is calcium dust. Well, almost everyone, or we wouldn't have a story. Two sisters survive the comet's passing. The first sister is the competitive older girl, Regina Reggie Belmont, played by Captain Mary Stewart, and the younger sister is Samantha Sam Belmont, played by Kelli Maroney. In this movie's rules, steel blocks the comet's make-you-into-dust powers, and both girls sleep between the steel. That sounds like some kind of innuendo, but I don't know how else to say it. So while the comet's passing turns everyone else to dust, Reggie and Sam wake up unscathed because one of them fell asleep in the movie theater projection booth and the other spent the night out in the shed. Then, when Reggie and Sam go looking for other survivors, they find another guy who slept between the steel, truck driver Hector Gomez, played by Robert Beltran. And there are also mutated, zombie-like people running around outside who probably slept partially between the steel because they are slowly turning to dust instead of right away. For whatever reason, the comet's effects have given them a taste for human because they're also cannibals. Lastly, there's a team of researchers led by a guy named Dr. Carter, played by Geoffrey Lewis. The researchers hang out in a secret base conveniently made out of steel, but not so conveniently, they left the ventilation ducts to their building open. So they're looking for a cure for the comet's effects as they are slowly turning into cannibal zombie people too. There's also a researcher named Audrey White, played by frequent cult movie actor Mary Woronov, who you can tell doesn't quite agree with leadership's policies about how to go about saving what's left of the world. So the movie revolves around the trio of Reggie, Sam, and Hector trying to avoid the cannibals and figure out how to stay alive, while the researchers race to find a solution to the decaying people problem. You can read the names of the rest of the cast in the transcript. Alright, so now that you understand the plot, let's talk about some of the good things about Night of the Comet. I'll give out a few points for all the things I think are cool, deduct for a few things I didn't think worked as well, and we'll add up the arbitrary point score at the end. Good thing number 1, this party time introduction is getting a little heavy, plus 1 point. The beginning of the movie is well written. As crowds gather in the streets and neighborhood block parties rage, things get off to a hopping start. You know bad tidings are due, but damn, these film extras do not. People are out in the streets, ready for the comet's passing, much like an eclipse watch party. And all that jubilation helps establish the feel-good, despite the apocalypse tone of the film. Yet unlike the extras who are partying hard, the film is getting down to business and introducing our characters. The main character, Reggie, is a tough babe, but you're probably expecting a bimbo. And perhaps playing on those audience expectations, we're introduced to Reggie with this long, sweeping take of the camera. But like some kind of inside joke, it starts at her feet and rises slowly up her very much clothed legs. Instead of tangling or chewing her hair like a ditz, we watch a determined Reggie stand at the arcade machine in the movie theater where she works. Someone with the initials DMK managed to get one of the high scores, so she's obsessively trying to wipe that out and keep her stranglehold on the top 10 rather than do her job. Next, we pivot to Reggie's little sister, Sam, dressed in yellow tights and red socks. Sam looks like a 1980s style party attendee today would dress, such is her outfit like a caricature of its time. Things are feeling carefree, but the movie's about to do some dark shit. Arguing, Sam trades slaps to the face with her stepmother and then takes a straight right in the mouth, right in front of other partygoers. This dysfunctional family breakdown could be the entire focus of another movie, but here, the abuse given to Sam hurts for a moment but then floats by like something to tell Daddy about when he gets back from his tour of duty, just like the affair evil stepmom is having with the neighbor. Establishing the tone and the characters of Reggie and Sam, it's a breezy, well-written opening act. Good thing number 2, soundtrack, plus 1 point. It seems like default praise to point out a quirky 80s movie's tunes, but unlike many cult favorites from the era, this soundtrack keeps the period's authentic synthesizer, electronic noises, but isn't afraid of lyrics. Chris Farren's Whole World is Celebratin' kicks us off, with tracks like Thom Pace's Virgin in Love or John Townsend's Strong Heart keeping us feeling good rather than dismaying about the breakdown of pretty much everything. And there is, of course, Tammy Holbrook's rendition of Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun for a trip to the mall. It's a party, not a pity party, over what the girls have lost. Good thing number 3, performances, plus 3 points. Catherine Mary Stewart combines beauty with determination as Reggie. She's a soldier's daughter with a hint of vulnerability around love interests. She's like a restless rebel, perhaps unsure of the direction to rebel in. Kelli Maroney crafts a little sister, Sam, who is much more to the Valley Girl stereotype, complete with spending most of the movie in a cheerleader's uniform. But Sam is enjoyable for the audience because Maroney, and the writing, takes her into the whimsical over the ditzy. She's very girly, but playfully witty. And Robert Beltran, who Trekkies will remember for his time on Star Trek Voyager as Commander Chakotay, understatedly wields humor, grit, and gentlemanly vibes as Hector, the truck driver who joins the girls. Good thing number 3, capable brats against the defunct world, plus 2 points. Reggie's heroic female character is said to be an influence on iconic female tough girl Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And though ladies like Ripley from Aliens are icons of the 1980s decade, the film belongs to a time when you would have expected a strong man like Hector to step in and save the women while they screamed in the corner. Instead, they can bring a brand of Valley Girl one-liners to the action. In the film's best line, when her MAC-10 machine gun jams, Sam laments, "Daddy would have gotten us Uzis." And the girls have a winning sisters-like dynamic, bickering at times, but having one another's back. Good thing number 4, retro effects, plus 1 point. The film's special effects are far from special by today's standards. But now that the film can be seen as a low-budget 80s romp, the nostalgia factor works in its favor. The filmmakers get a sweet B-movie red tinge in the skyline, which I think is accomplished with some simple camera filters. And the crew uses what I think are ground-down red bricks for the dusty remains of the comet's victims. Some makeup gives us the cannibals, and it's all we need to make them white, pock-faced, and intimidating. Good thing number 5, sans the template, plus 1 point. Though this is a light zombie movie, as some reviewers put it, it doesn't include the dead has risen, few against the horde tropes that are played out. For example, the movie isn't about walling yourself off. There's a shopping mall, but no glorified castle defense against undead invaders like 2004's Dawn of the Dead remake or the 1978 original. The Belmont girls stay in the city instead of trying to cross a zombie-infested dystopia in search of safe ground. There isn't that one objector you know will be a liability in this game of survival, putting the rest of the group at risk. And it's not about how societies break under stress. Leaving behind these classic but overfished waters for drama benefits the film. And though the movie has a few scary bits, it's largely non-horrific, making it accessible to the non-horror fans. So now that we've talked about the good points, let's get into the not as good things. Not as good thing number 1. Hello out there? -4 points. It seems odd to criticize a low-budget movie about an apocalyptic event where most everyone turns to dust as empty. Still, at times, the film is aimless, without tension or direction. We have a small group of survivors who have to dodge zombies, but we rarely encounter any trouble with those. For all we know, only about 10 or 12 of them exist. The characters freely hang out during the day, not exactly looking over their shoulder. Instead, the film relies on a dream sequence or two and a character's side mission to add scares and immediate problems. There's also the girls' shopping trip, which seems to bow to its premise rather than being a dramatic necessity of the movie. That event does help kick the movie into the third act, but it is out of happenstance. While I understand the film is more of an apocalyptic hangout than a survival horror, it's too content to meander. Until the final act, the girls lack a dramatic, immediate need or challenge propelling them forward. Not as good thing number 2, lackluster action, -2 points. Okay, it doesn't say action in the film's genre as I mentioned, does it? But if you're gonna write yourself a shootout and have a few action set pieces, I'd like a better delivery. In the early part of the film, Reggie has a little fight against a street-prowling cannibal. It switches to POV cam for a bit so that the sequence can do a little jump scare. But other than that, it's over fast. At another point, the girls go to the mall because they're bored. And while they're there, a gang of gun-wielding cannibal zombie thugs try to take the girls hostage, and a shootout starts. But it could be more exciting. The girls and the cannibals take cover and fire at each other, just mostly missing the target. And during the climax of the film, the characters wander around a mazy, dimly lit compound, which isn't very exciting. Budget constraints, I know. But the movie could have done better with these action scenes. So all in all, Night of the Comet's arbitrary point score is 3 points. On my scale of go watch, should I watch, or let's not watch, I will give this movie my should I watch rating. The film invites you to kick back and smile at the end of the world. Its cast treats the material with earnest care, charming you into a niche science fiction horror comedy that gives out more joy than nightmares. And with its likable, able female leads, the movie quietly stands out as a small piece of empowerment in an era where it was less common in leading female roles. Yet while the film has its following, I can't say I'm gung-ho on the bandwagon. The movie's intriguing setup isn't quite realized into a captivating story, and dramatic tension goes missing. Still, many audiences have found delight here, so if you like the premise and enjoy films like Trancers, give it a shot. And before we go, with its excellent setup and, for me, somewhat flawed execution, I had a thought that Night of the Comet would be ripe for a remake. And according to an article from the website Bloody Disgusting, lo and behold, one may just be coming. I look forward to seeing if the remake can up the polish while harnessing the charming spirit of the original. Thank you so much for listening to my thoughts on Night of the Comet, directed by Thom Eberhardt. If you liked this episode, keep our channel in mind, as we'll have more coming for you very soon. If you've got a comment or a question, you can visit us at the Not Now in Theaters pages on Instagram or Facebook. This podcast episode is a production copyright of Overegged Media, LLC, located in Sacramento, California. Introduction music, Neon Laser Horizon by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Exit music, Canon and D for 8-bit synths by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Additional music, Newer Wave by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Goodbye for now.